Good morning, it's Mr. Norm here once again. I just thought I'd like to share another story with you that I know and I'm sure you will love. It's called Angus and the Ducks by Marjorie Flack. And she's the author as well as the illustrator. And behind me, as you can see, I have some friends of mine too. And maybe you can tell your mom or dad who they are, all right? So here we are with Angus and the Ducks. Once there was a very little dog whose name was Angus, because his mother and his father came from Scotland. Although the rest of Angus was quite small, his head was very large, and so were his feet. Angus was curious about many places and many things. He was curious about what lived under the sofa and in dark corners, and who was the little dog in the mirror. He was curious about things which come apart and those things which don't come apart, such as slippers and gentlemen's suspenders and things like that. Angus was also curious about things outdoors, but he could not find out much about them because of a leash. The leash was fastened at one end to the collar around his neck and at the other end to somebody else. But Angus was most curious of all about a noise which came from the other side of the large green hedge at the end of the garden. The noise usually sounded like this: quack, quack, quackity, quack. But sometimes it sounded like this: quackity, 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 quackity. One day, the door between outdoors and indoors was left open by mistake, and out went Angus without the leash or somebody else. Down the little path he ran until he came to the large green hedge at the end of the garden. He tried to go around it, but it was much too long. He tried to go over it, but it was much too high. So Angus went under the large green hedge and came out on the other side. There, directly in front of him, were two white ducks. They were marching forward, 1 foot up and 1 foot down. Quack, quack, quackity, quack. Angus said, "Woof!" Away went the ducks all of a flutter. Quackity, 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 quackity. Angus followed after. Soon the ducks stopped by a stone watering trough under a mulberry tree. Angus stopped too. Each duck dipped a yellow bill in the clear, cool water. Angus watched. Each duck took a long drink of the cool, clear water. Still, Angus watched. Each duck took another long drink of cool, clear water. Then Angus said, "Woof!" Away the ducks scuttled, and Angus lapped the cool, clear water. Birds sang in the mulberry tree. The sun made patterns through the leaves over the grass. The ducks talked together. Quack, quack, quack. Then hiss, hiss. The first duck nipped Angus's tail. Hiss, hiss. The second duck flapped his wings. Angus scrambled under the large green hedge, scurried up the little path, scampered into the house, and crawled under the sofa. For exactly 3 minutes by the clock, Angus was not curious about anything at all. The end. Now, after listening to the story, you may want to ask your mom or dad or whoever's there, with you to maybe you can tell them what you're curious about. That would be interesting. As you know, certainly Angus was very, very curious about a lot of things.